But I will evaluate Daniel Mello, and my guest who's Ipa Bemiro IAP. So welcome, brother.
Thank you for having me on your show, sir. My brother.
So one of the things we wanted to have a discussion on, basically, I would like to touch on leadership. You know, it's a hard, tough subject because a lot of there's a lot of situations where you come around talk about leadership. But I want to go on functional as a leadership. You know,
All right.
the functionaries as leaders.
Well, I know for sure that is a very touchy topic, and I hope that if we're going to discuss it tonight, that we probably have some essay for something to quote, because I know a lot of people wouldn't really want to hear about it unless there's some kind of support to back it up.
But
So,
so the importance of leadership because although there are many, even if you go back to the scriptural theology that we grew up upon, Christianity, Islam, whatever, it always emphasizes the roles of the leaders and the roles of the priests. So when you talk about leadership, it's more in terms of tapping into leaders in our community, in supporting the younger ones into achieving some growth or elevation in the society. Because far too long we've been trying to deal with the leadership, but we never put it in a context. What are the roles? What are these leaders supposed to do for us? We tend to hold on to religious leaders and want those religious leaders to be our political leaders, our economic leaders, our social leaders, and most of them basically have all issues, problems, hoping that the God will save them, and they can't put together develop social economic issues to save the society, not just to save themselves.
okay, well, I mean, that is a very interesting perspective, and you cover quite a bit there. But one of my concerns with the issue of leadership is the issue of succession planning, because what I find to be a very common problem in Trinidad, and I'm sure probably in other parts of the world, where there is problems with succession planning, you would find that you may have a very good functioning organization, and then when the leader dies and for transition, then the whole organization fall apart because no one was prepared to take the leader's place. So I think that is at least the issue of leadership that I think first and foremost we should really discuss in some measure of detail.
All right. What you have mentioned there, I could take you in a direction that supposed to be in the minds of a lot of people. The great Marcus Messiah Garvey. You understand? United Negroes International Association, UNIA. He bought a Starline Group, and we have yet even to the same idea to buy a Puro, much less a Yap. No. Now, this is when we discussion. We have to be real with scenarios. We discuss it. We are not trying to be intellectuals, trying to basically bring too much of theology. But if we go to the structure of the UNIA and you look at all the structures, it's a great structural program. But as I say, when the leader, the creator, the one with the vision passes, why do our organizations crash? Why do it fall? Is it that everybody are just riding on the leader who once the leader carries, we go in with it? Outside of that, we have nothing to show of all the great leaders that has passed to say their structures, their ideas and plan really has produced a legacy. Legacy not in terms of just stories we could pronounce and talk about them, but legacy to show, well, okay, this first building, this first structure, this first project, this first institute was established by our leader. And we have branched it out, and so now we have moved from one structure to 12 institutes. from one little cornerstone to a big building.
Well, I mean, as far as I know, Baba, the Pan African organization that came out of the United Negro Improvement
So
um, Association has today, up till today, stood to be one of the largest international organizations for people of African descent in the diaspora and worldwide. Um, so, to some extent, I would say that that legacy was successful, the legacy of Marcus Garvey. Also, I think there came from that movement several other leaders, including a gentleman by the name of Tony Martin, who was a Trinidadian and he was a Pan Africanist, who acquired a great amount of international renown promoting the concept of Pan Africanism. Also, on the continent of Africa, you would have found several of the political leaders in the African countries who promoted Pan Africanism
yeah,
quite a
true,
bit,
so true.
like Nkrumah and quite a few of them. Um, so, to some degree, I think that he was successful in establishing a legacy.
Now, why I brought up his name? Now, he was successful. There was a growth in his legacy in terms of division. But when it comes to successorship, in terms of somebody basically what you would have the same strong mandate as Marcus Garvey, he was working towards creating our own nation. The closest thing to that might be the Nation of Islam. You know?
Well,
I
what I want to say is that, and it's just my
yeah.
personal view, right? A lot of times we have exceptional individuals who are very popular and very charismatic leaders. Seldom you would find they would have a successor who would be equal to them or who would even do better than they did. Um, I mean, we could go on and on with examples, right? I think the idea is as long as the organization is still sustained and as long as they are able to do the work that was established by the founder, I think in many instances that is enough. It's rare, seldom you would find a charismatic leader um, at their death. You would find another leader who is probably more popular or equally as popular. Maybe the only exception to that I could think about African people in the diaspora might be from Elijah Muhammad to the Honorable Louis Farrakhan.
The Nation of Islam.
Yeah, the Nation of Islam,
Uh,
right?
Now, why I took it so high, go so deep in terms of looking at Marcus Garvey being one of the greatest, and because I could say I'm a byproduct of Marcus Garvey, right? Because my ideas, my political ideas were, hey, why do we always have to be trying to accommodate people and not come out ourselves? Why are we always trying to fit in recognition, not build our own nation, structure our own survival, have our own sustainability? So why I point at the UNIA and Marcus Garvey in terms of how to come back home. What are the vision of those who we supposed to see as leaders in our community today, Trinidad and Tobago, within the diaspora? You know?
I think, Baba, in the opening, it was very clear that there are different types of leaders. I think sometimes what may be happening too is we might be looking at for a particular type of leadership and we might be looking at the wrong person.
So that is why I draw you talk about succession, but you also talk about in terms of legacy and fellows carrying the mandate in your own sphere. And you also look at, as I say, different types of leaders. So we got back to the point. And first, we have to identify in our community. Because remember, all this discussion is basically trying to bring our community to where we need to be as a community rather than just groups coming together. And after that, we going in separate ways as a community. Somebody has to lead a point that our vision is going somewhere. When situation come before us, we are caught with the open gap that there's nobody to speak on our behalf. But when it come into when it comes into situation, then you are hearing a lot of people who has titles, offices, certain authority in which supposed to be um, compounded or imposed on, let's say, us the lesser one, we the votees or the followers. So when you come to COVID-19 before us, nobody is speaking into the recent idea of the vaccine. Are we supposed to take it or are we not supposed to take it? Are we supposed to give support to what is coming out on one side or we're not supposed to? Are we supposed to look towards our killers? Because if people said that he will take care of the killer, no matter what pandemic death and situation, people will take care of his children. But wait, I have an infant child, but how people are going to take care of me because I haven't seen the elders do the able that people say should be done to make sure that people will take care of his children.
All right. Baba, as you yourself pointed out at the beginning of the stream, you said there are different type of leaders, right? So my question to you is now going to be, among all the leaders that we have in our community, how many of these leaders are qualified in the field of health where they could touch on the issue of immunization?
Well, that unless you look for them in terms of the field of health, working a ceremony, then I will kind of find one. Maybe are you a leader of a group that I can call your name? Because I know
Baba, Baba,
find it help.
Baba,
I'll put the question.
Baba, I am not a leader. First and
Right,
foremost, let me establish a few
right.
things here.
No, so
Now,
let me,
I am a herbalist
right,
and I am a trained pharmacy assistant.
right. So let me
So I understand some things about the area I have. However, because I am not the leader, the question that I asked you was in no way in reference to my own self.
now why I put the question that way is that as a true leader, if I know not much in terms of health and well-being for my people, I would call those who know and has an understanding and say, what do you think we should give advice to our people? Yes, they say wash hands, they say sanitize, they say social distancing, and it will basically impose on our culture because by the time you're walking a shrine is already to embrace with a hug. Manifestation come, everybody have to come together and meet. So a lot of the direction, the system is given is not in line with our tradition. So as persons who are involved in health, medicine, herbology, what advice you would give that I could go?
Baba, I could give plenty of advice, but you know what's the first advice I giving people? Obey the law. If the law says 6 feet, it's 6 feet.
Right.
If the law say respirator,
Use your respirator.
it's respirator.
Right. Now
If
what?
the law says sanitize, it's sanitize. If the law says social distancing, it's social distancing. That is my advice.
Right.
Outside of that,
No, well, no. Who are the leaders who know you are involved in that, even if to confirm and to give affirmation to the advice in the state here? Because you will see in all other societies, there are those who are confirming and giving support to the advice given.
well, Baba, we could use this platform and I could give my advice right now.
Yeah.
There are several things that is known about this COVID-19, right?
What are they posting
Whether
a job on you?
whether it's a pandemic or a
Yeah.
pandemic or
Yeah.
a pretendemic, whichever demic it is. What I am saying, there are specific things that we know,
No, I understand that.
right?
But,
And I'm just gonna give a little bit of herbal
yeah.
advice. Just allow me.
Yeah.
Fever grass, any sort of a herb that is anti-venomous that is used traditionally for snake bite could also be used to deal with COVID-19. Because seemingly the condition of COVID-19 is it damages your blood cells and it causes them to become deformed. When they are deformed, they circulate but they clog the
They
lungs.
clog
So
lung
the
system. Yeah.
main thing that we need is any sort of herb that would reverse the coagulation of the blood. That is the first thing. And the second thing is any herb that is rich in iron, which would enrich your blood with oxygen. Other than that, the only thing we know is we know that the lungs itself, when taken apart, it is full with sulfur. So we know any plant that contains levels of sulfur would also aid in the lungs' proper functioning.
Right.
Anything outside of these recommendations would just be herbs to boost your immunity
Right.
to ensure that it doesn't get this virus.
And
And outside of that is obey the law.
so I'm think I may have to apply to become the leader of our community.
No, well, I mean, Baba, you could apply for wherever you want,
Yeah.
but you know,
No, what?
that is not really how it does work,
Yeah.
though.
No, no,
But
what?
but you can apply for it if you want.
No, this is what I say in terms of dealing with leadership, because though we may have many persons of, but let me say, of esteemed offices and titles, they have never put a structure in terms of coming to that form of leadership. But
Baba,
outside of oh, well, yeah, man, outside of the positioning as being leader of the community, I think that even when people may step out to try to at least save our community from one point or yes, we should have people who would have the offices or little respect in terms of when they come and look at our community to give these people support by give even say by give them a little advice. You know, 6 years I tried that. Maybe you should try this way in what you're trying to do.
Baba, have you ever heard of a document called Let's Make a Slave?
Right on the Willie Lynch?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. That document explains what you are asking about there.
But
It's called the crab in the barrel syndrome. Have you ever heard of that, Baba?
yeah. Have you ever known the coding of the Willie Lynch?
Baba, I will tell you
No,
what
I wrote the book, you know. But
you
I said it by publisher, he printed it.
well
Because they have to read the
I
book.
hope that you have the solution
Yeah.
though,
No.
because
Right.
I could remember about 25 years ago, I brought a copy of that book here and I made copies and I gave it to a couple of people.
No, what
But
since 2000, even before that, we would have the whole book. There were many flyers and many copies would have circulated around Trinidad about the Willie Lynch and the whole system.
so,
And
mhm.
a lot of people even may try to base our problems on the Willie Lynch. Not necessarily when you ask somebody about somebody practicing it.
But Baba, the Willie Lynch is only one aspect. You
Yeah.
have Stockholm syndrome
Mm.
and you have post-traumatic or post-slavery stress disorder.
Right.
There are several uh, conditions,
Mm.
and I'm talking about medically diagnosed conditions. These are psychological states of existence that exist in our people because of the damages that were done due to slavery. So we have to keep in mind that we are really a damaged people.
Truly, truly,
So
truly.
when you're talking about um, leaders coming together and supporting the effort made by one person, we have to understand that this is not no simple problem. This has been a
A long time.
long-standing problem
Uh,
with our people fighting each other because everybody wants to be the top dog.
uh,
But mhm.
but so it takes me to understand. Remember, when we say Orisa community conversations, but remember we are guided by IFA, the principles and the teachings of the let's say,
Baba,
yeah.
Baba, what that mean? Tell me what that mean.
Which one is that?
Because if I talk to 100 people and they tell me I control by IFA, that person might mean one thing. If I talk to the second person in that 100, they might tell me that mean another thing. If I talk to the third person, they might tell me that mean another thing.
Other
So
thing.
by you telling me you're controlled by IFA, I don't know that putting any plaster on the soil, you know.
No, no. Right. What I'm saying, we use these things. That's why I say we use it. If we are guided by the teachings of IFA, the the essays or the teachings, they teach us about food, they teach us about situation, scenario. How do we come out of situation? And I think we who basically are recognized as leaders, I'm recognized as a leader, it's because of my understanding.
Baba, good for you. Me recognize as no leader.
Right,
I am just a person trying to fulfill my destiny.
right,
I don't want no title. I never wanted a title. And anywhere I go and I'm contributing towards the building of the community and the movement, I just make it clear to everybody there, I don't want no title. Let me
yeah.
tell, and I'll
Well,
tell you
it
why.
happens.
I'll tell you why I say I
Tell me
don't
why
want
you.
no
I tell you why
title.
I don't.
Title does not bestow on a person an ability to function as an effective person in producing results, especially the results that our community needs
True,
at
true.
this time.
That is true.
Right? So anybody could, as long as you could afford it, you could travel and go and initiate and get a title. But
Yeah,
that does not guarantee that when you return here, that you're going to be able to function within the capacity of the title that you
well,
have acquired.
well.
So, and listen, I ain't bashing nobody,
No, no,
and I
no,
don't
no. You're
want
speaking
nobody to
true.
misunderstand me.
You're
This
speaking
is not
true.
a
You're speaking
personal
from the
attack. I
conversation.
am not speaking directly to anyone. I am simply defending my position and explaining why I have never opted for any position. If
No,
you want a worker to help build the community and to do something to contribute towards the improvement of the community, call me.
I
If you're
understand that.
looking for a leader with a title, please do not call me.
No, I understand. No, no. Honestly, when you take the end of quotes anyway. But honestly, when people who do not have deep understanding of tradition and can be guided by those who have an understanding of Vipa, you already recognize them as somebody who can take them somewhere because you know you're giving them scriptures to work with alongside with the practical that is needed. Now, so we who basically have the understanding, we have to make a more effort and not just look at the situation and the condition of our people, but now start to adjust and adapt what we are doing to bring them out of those conditions.
Baba, I have a little problem with something you're saying.
Which
Because
one
you're
is that?
saying we as the people who understand
Yeah.
the tradition.
No,
And
no,
I
no.
am saying to you, if I line
No.
up a
No.
hundred people, no, and I'm serious.
Yeah.
If I line up 100 people and I ask them, what is your understanding of the tradition? I am going to hear 100 different answers. Listen
Yeah.
to what I am saying.
No, I understand what you're saying.
So I have a little bit of a problem
No,
with
but
what you're saying
no,
because of that statement.
no, basically on the same to support this statement, that's saying we who have an understanding that can be clear in terms of when people have different answers, we could know, well, maybe you understand or you don't understand as well. Is we now have to start to share the information. Establish an institute that will help these
Baba, Baba,
understand.
Baba, excuse me.
Yeah.
There are people in leadership. If you say you leading and you sharing the information and you're doing this, they are going to ask you, excuse me, are you initiated? Who initiated you? Who is your Baba Ifa? How long you in the tradition? Under whose authority
No,
are you teaching?
no, that is
And like I have 100 more
yeah.
because that is where that's
No,
at the
right.
answer.
But then you have to remember, you have those who live according to the dogmas. They
Baba,
promote religion.
explain what that
Uh,
mean, please. I
They
ain't mean to be interrupting you
no,
so regular,
well,
but explain what you mean now, please.
those that want to hold on to the religion. Now, the religion of Ifa is not based in those certain protocols. But remember, Ifa is also a spirituality, it's a traditional sheshe of Ifa. Now, if we go according to the sheshe, the tradition, if you learn something, you are 12 years, and what you learn when you're 5, the 8-year-old will learn from you because you know how to sound the yard. The 2-year-old will learn from the 5-year-old because they will be able to pass on what they learn. So even if you go up in age, all you are doing is passing on what you learn while you're young in growing up. So you're passing on what you learn to the younger ones. So let me base it on the tradition, not the dogma of the religion where people want to build institutes. People want to build the exits. People want to build their U-boats. Those are the people who want to put the religion, not the tradition. But the tradition based on faith, you have to cross a bridge. You know, bridge on the bridge. Why? Because what you have learned and experienced, you allow other people to experience it. So that's what I'm saying in terms of bringing people to where we need to be. We have to now basically share information, not based on the dogmas, but the morals, the ethics, the principles. How do we carry about our life? Value in dealing with our children. Be able to pass on what we understand to our children. When our child initiates the tradition and they get initiated into the future, they already understand and cultured and already have the whole well-being to go and study for the future. But if a child cannot even have that discipline, the love, moral effect, the patience, to handle your understanding, it will be all lost because now they know while they're trying to learn EFA, they are trying to learn how to have discipline. While they should be learning to study EFA, they are now studying how to have patience. So you find that while you are learning one thing, you're missing because the foundation, the foundation is missing. So outside the dogma, who initiated the original? If they can tell me who initiated the original, no problem. Then I can say, well, maybe. What is the Odu will speak up the one who did not see Odu. But he was doing it because he was making a contribution to people who needed to get the understanding, who needed to be directed. Remember, if I tell us just about religion, people think if I just about prayers and walking with Orishas, if I how do we live a good, harmonious life with understanding and a balance with the things that surround us. So the stone that has a life, water has life, fire has life, the air has life. How do we live in harmony and within a well-being where we can achieve that?
Baba. Always songing very good. In theory, how do you solve a leadership crisis? Now, mind you, I want you to understand something. As far as I am concerned, in this country, there is no shortage of good leaders. From my communication with many of the elders and the chiefs, I know personally. Now, I'm talking personal. I know there are many good leaders. Okay? And as I've identified, much of the difficulty and the challenges we have is due to what is referred to as the crab in the barrel syndrome. I already give you, now they have names for it, psychological labeled diseases. One of them is the Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah.
And the other one is the post-traumatic slave disorder. And these is real psychological conditions. We are injured people, and I am asking you, we identifying the problem, but then we will be running amiss of our purpose if we have in this show and we cannot suggest practical solutions.
So the first thing to look now, those mental issues that we will have, basically, firstly, let us take move our shrines and spaces from being entertainment halls and start to be centers we could treat and psychologically treat these people. One of these systems in terms of why do we do Orisa bring it back into alignment? While you bring it into alignment, we have programs that will bring you now to understand yourself and take yourself from this point to your new self.
Baba, you can take one more interruption.
Yeah, go ahead.
Please don't give me no pie in the sky. Kind of song in story, yeah? We want practical solutions. So you're saying align in the Ori. Go ahead. I ain't going to interrupt you.
Once I bring alignment to you understand, okay. But remember now, we tapping into your spiritual self. What we don't have is basically support institute. When I say we don't have a retreat, if I bring somebody, they have a whole lot of problems. They have a space where you bring them. while you're bringing a client in, you have a time to process them through the situations in which they are going through. Help them to adapt to the change. Help them adapt in terms of decision, more in terms of internal decisions rather than making decisions based on the surroundings around them. Most people decision is based on their job, based on their housing payment, based on their life here, based on that. It's not basically internal. So we bring them to that point of internally connecting with their self.
All right, Baba, that song in real theoretical way.
No.
I want
Practical.
to
Right,
know.
practical.
I
That's what I
want
mean.
you to tell me in layman terms, meaning I ain't no bright man, I ain't no scholar. Explain to me in simple terms how we solving that problem with the leadership. How we solving problems with people who disruptive. How we solving the problem with people who uncooperative. How we solving the problem of people who have problems getting along with other people in a very pragmatic, in a logical sort of a way. Because I am saying, yes, okay, yeah, align people Ori.
Now wait, I was dealing in terms of the masses. Now if you want to put that in terms of leadership,
No, but that what we discussion is on the
right?
show.
No.
We discussion is leadership,
Right.
but remember too, the leaders is human
The
too.
leaders have to deal
So
with.
so we ain't want to um treat titled individuals in a way almost as though they're not human. Because one of the important qualities of a good leader is to be human
Yeah.
before the people that they're leading. In other words, they must have qualities like humility. Now, we live in the diaspora, and the concept a lot of people have of leadership is this person who sit down on a throne and is a person who is different from the common people, and the people who the followers can't really reach. You understand? But for some reason, I believe that is not the traditional. And listen to the words I'm using carefully. This is not the traditional concept of leadership, because in the motherland or the fatherland, whichever one you choose to call it, the fatherland might be more
Let's
suitable
go to
in
the
this
source.
instance. The kings that reign in the localities there, beside having counsel and advice from spiritual people, from various councils, and from officials, they give the public audience. If you want, you could go and see the Uni of Ife, you know, because he does have council where he's seeing people. He does have council where he's seeing visitors coming in from other countries. So to some degree, you must have a dialogue, a sense of what a regular person will experience. You must have that kind of sense of humility to come with a normal person, to know what it is to be normal, so that you could reach out to the needs of other people. The diasporic concept is the pomp and the pride. You
Authoritarian.
see the leader, he look majestic or she look majestic, and they're being treated with a certain air of that authority that they have, and they would, perform whatever ritual, or they would give whatever speech. And so to me, the idea we have in the diaspora does not really correspond with what exists within the framework of the tradition. So I am saying, in my humble understanding as a normal person, you know having specific qualities, I think, is useful in being able to create succession planning, and in being able to create dialogue, where it does not matter if there's another leader and that person has a shrine and the shrine bigger than my own, that I can sit down and have a discussion with them. Hold on. And even if something happened when we were ours 20, 30 years ago, and you may have done something to me or you may have spoken ill about me behind my back and I heard, or whatever it is, there should be the spirit to have constructive dialogue, diplomacy, where people are able to sit at a table and work out their differences. Because to me, a lot of these um, grudges, prejudices, lack of forgiveness, ill feelings are not part of what IFA prescribes. 16 rules of IFA. And I don't think in any of them it suggested that a person behave in any of the manner that I just called.
No.
Right? Um, the issue of initiation, I think we have dealt with that to the finest detail. And I think many persons who walk around asking people if they initiate do not fully understand the concept of initiation. Because initiation is simply the entry into a stage of development where a person is informed and given a charge of responsibility. It has very little, and listen to what I am saying now. When I say very little, the ritualistic and the symbolic part of it is only a part of an act performed. The lasting effect of that is not within the act itself. It is the impression that it has created on the mind of the individual who was initiated that would cause them to go out there and to function
Let,
in the role that they was given.
let me simple. When you achieve this, it is for your personal development. And by your personal development, you make a contribution.
Yeah, but if you're functioning,
No, well, you say,
if you're functioning, because I could,
even say,
Baba, there's plenty people with demon
yeah,
in
well, I
it,
say,
Baba,
yeah,
and
I said,
you know,
fair,
I
fair.
ain't bringing down nobody in the community by trying to keep it
So,
real. Function, Baba,
this is what
not
allows.
decoration. Function.
Right. So first, this allows you to start the process of your personal development. All the traits and the expectation as a whole, as I initiate, is what is supposed to develop. Now, when we talk about leadership, leadership is not based on if you're initiated or not. Because if it is a title, it will be bestowed upon you because of your lineage, be because of your divination, what you have, what you have come from, or rule. There are many factors that could put you in a leadership position. Now, if by choice any of those factors, or you use the thing like delegate, as I say, you could go to chapel and be delegated a position and of authority and you come back with a title. Each and every one basically falls for roles and functions. If you don't have the element or you don't have the essence to look for better community, if you don't, that is not in you, then no matter whichever one, then it don't make sense of being a leader because leader is not just for the form. But when we put it, one owning a shrine or being a head of a shrine don't already say they're supposed to be a general leader of a community. It's a responsibility. It's a role you have to take in terms of building a community because as one leader in a shrine, one of those devotees of yours supposed to be the one to elevate into the kingship. What are you going to do? Say no, well, you can't be because I'm a spiritual head. Now they're supposed to know do the ceremony, do the necessary rituals to elevate that one. And so, because
Baba,
your
Baba,
kingship is based on spirituality, guidance, and not true
Baba,
spiritual acclaim.
Baba,
How much person you keep?
Baba.
Right? Yeah.
Here was my question to you. This has been a nagging question because I can't get no answers, and I don't care who I ask, I can't get no answers at all. I mean, you gave me an answer on the show the last time, but you know, I as a man, like I had to satisfy or something. My question is now, some people believe leaders are born and not made
Well, well,
because when one is initiated, and when I use the word initiate, I mean true initiation, and I mean ritual initiation. When one has graduated from one phase of the development to another, that's what I mean. I don't mean when somebody
no, well,
goes through a ritual.
yeah. Understand?
Okay? I talking about when somebody has developed from one level to another and they are prepared to function. Hear my words, eh? Function on a different level. That person is initiated.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, during, and I want you to listen to this carefully, during most initiations, daffers are performed. Do you know why these daffers are performed at these rituals?
Well, I think a guidance has set the persons.
No. Well, yes, yes. But the point is,
Destiny.
the reading is a spiritual measure to make a determination as to whether a person must go this way or that way, or if they're prepared or if they're not prepared. That is what comes out in that divination reading. Do you understand? More important than the ritual symbolism, right, is the desire for the person to know at that stage in their life what it is Uludumare have planned for them to carry out. Yeah? So to me, the people who let's be acting here initiated, I don't think they really understand the spiritual. No,
Let me stay
Baba.
with the question. Everybody question.
Yeah, I don't think they
Come on, question asked for you.
understand that a person's station and a person's function is something that is determined divinely. It's determined in our rule. It's not determined here by other people
But yeah,
who
answer the
try to
question. Answer the
compete.
question.
No, well, you see, it's
Right.
not that I didn't have the,
Answer
it's
the
not that
question.
I didn't have the answer, you know.
Right. No, here, here.
It's just that I want us to highlight and bring out certain things so that people who hearing and people who seeing would comprehend what it is we're talking about.
No. Remember, in terms like your first initiation in the physical world is coming out of your mother's womb. That's your first initiation.
Yes, sir.
Understand?
Yes, sir.
Passing through that sacred water and washing that sacred blood, that's your first initiation.
Yes, Baba. Yes, yes. Water and blood.
All right. And as you elevate, now you go to different levels of initiation, into different levels of understanding in life. Now, leaders are born, and some leaders are made. Because
Baba, I don't.
no, yeah, I was saying
All
it.
right. Okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, made because somebody may not have leadership in their lineage. They may not have leadership in their destiny, but they may have a strong ambition, and they'll work towards the ambition. Now, because you can see a lot of leaders very ambitious. They have the following, and they push it. But they'll all
Might be a little element missing because
well, this
well,
is not
this is
really a
not really a destiny, but
ambition
the
has
ambition has
paid off.
paid off because
If you learn
if
a
you learn
skill,
a skill and be well in the skill, it not
necessarily have to be
necessarily
a
have to be a destiny.
Baba, I think it might be the opposite of what you're saying. Eh?
yeah.
I think it's more destiny than ambition because
No,
the essay Ifa that I read when we did the interview in the radio station, the son of the king in that essay Ifa didn't have the wherewithal by conventional standards
but yeah, you
to
just
become the Oba.
but this
But it was his destiny to be the Oba. He was poor,
right.
but he had good character. That characteristics that he developed is what was able to bring all the area to him, where he became the Oba and he was able to solve all the problems of the community
Right.
because he had good character. There is a essay for an AG of B, and it reads out and it tells you if you have wealth and no character, the wealth belongs to someone else.
No, no.
If you have good children and you don't have no character, your children belongs to someone else. If you have money, if you have houses, if you have cars and you don't have good character, those things belong to someone else. What do you think that is if I already telling you?
Well, number 7. You have those who will have the ambition.
Destiny, Baba.
Not,
No, wait.
Destiny.
Yeah, no, we have those who wait in the destiny. But those who may not have any destiny, they may have the ambition. But as
that's
I
why I
said,
said, if you
everybody
know the
can,
character,
but
because
sometimes
sometimes
you
you
might be
might be
ambitious,
ambitious,
but
but
you're
you're
not
not
seeing
seeing
real
real
true
true
results.
results.
Just
That's
as
why
the
the
essay
essay
will
will
speak
speak
about
about
the
the
next
next
one,
one,
he
he
had
had
financial
financially
support.
support.
He
He
was
was
well
well
supported,
supported,
but
but
chaos
chaos would follow.
problems
Problems
would
would
follow.
follow.
Because
That is
nobody
Owari
wants support.
Obara. Owari
yeah,
Okubara.
right? So
So
while
while
they
they
were
were
struggling
struggling
to
to
achieve
achieve
something,
something,
what was he missing anything? Yes, the character. But he
but he
became
became
a
a
leader
leader
because he
because he
could
could
have
have
paid
paid
his
his
way.
way.
He
He
had the
had the
ambition.
ambition.
But the
The
one
one
who
who
would
would
have
have,
no,
you know, seen in all politics.
some
Some
leaders are
leaders
very
are very
successful.
successful.
Why?
Why?
Everybody
Everybody
love
love
the
the
why.
why.
The
The
character.
character.
Some
Somebody
may say
say they
soft,
soft,
some may
some may
say
say
they
they
don't
don't
see.
see.
Why? But
But
the
the
character.
character.
And
And
some may
some may
seem
seem
so
so
bright
bright
and
and
so
so
well
well
done,
done,
and
and
then
then
the
they
cast
cast
results,
results because
the
the
character.
character.
That's
That's
an
an
important
important
factor.
factor.
Now,
Now,
we have,
yes,
I
I
as
as
a
a
leader
leader
in
in
my
my
community,
community,
I
I
always
always
have
have
to
to remember
to see my
my
character
character
first.
first after
Be
be
one
one
for
for
me,
me,
secondly
secondly
for
for
my
my
family.
family.
Because
Because
you
you
don't
don't
want
want
when
when
somebody
somebody
call
call
your
your
family
family
name,
name,
you
they
have
have
to
to
speak
speak
ill
ill
of
of
it.
him.
And
And
then
then
I
I
have to
have to
explain
expand
my
my
character
character
to
to
the
the
society
society
and
and
also
also
encourage
encourage
the
the
society
society to
to basically
basically
have
have
a
a
good
good
character.
character.
Respect
Respect
your
your
space,
space,
love
love
your
your
neighbor,
neighbor,
show
show
thing.
thing.
So
So
you
you
bring
bring
about
about
that
that
element
element
that
that
is
is
incorporated.
incorporated.
People like
People
to
like to
use
use the word
trustworthy,
trustworthy,
righteousness.
righteousness.
Yes,
Yes,
you
you
could
could
have
have
that.
that.
But
But
what
what
makes
makes
you
you
really
really
expound
expound
is
it
the
is the
character.
character.
You
You
are
are
is
is
important,
important,
but
but
are
are the
these elements
elements
or
or
the
the
understanding
understanding
of
of
you
you
are
are is it
very
very
put out? Everybody
everybody
want
want
to
to learn about Alapia.
you
You
walk
walk
here
here
say,
say
"Allah,
Alapia.
what Allah?
Hello,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
I'm
well.
well.
I
I
say,
say,
well,
well,
Allah,
Alapia
are
mean,
you
are you
feeling
feeling
all right?
alright? Are you well?
But
But
when
when
we
we
talk
talk
about
about
you are
Iwapele, everybody is
well,
well,
we
we
try
try
to
to
try to
try to
get
get
you are
Iwapele.
yes,
Yes,
but
but
what
what
does
does
that
that
mean?
mean?
Good
Good
character.
character.
Do
Do
you
you
understand?
understand?
Because
Because
we
we
don't
don't
I think it,
even
it
know
means more it
strong.
means more balance
Yeah, well,
character
it's balance.
than good. Because good is
You
limited to
are
one single quality.
Whereas good character. You are Pele's balance character, right? Pele because you have to be stand up solid, right? But you
what you're
say
saying,
we
we are
we
we
pushing
push
the
the
tradition.
tradition.
But
But
this
this
was
was saying
we
we
have
need
to
to
understand
understand
the
the
scriptures.
scriptures and understand.
We
We
have
have
to
to
be
be
out
out
there.
there.
When
When
we
we
speak,
speak,
it's
it's
not
not
about
about
I
I
want
trying
to
to
be
be
better
better
than
than
nobody,
anybody, trying to
outshine
outshine
anybody.
anybody. But
We
we
have
have
to
to
get
get
everybody.
everybody to understand.
So
So
if
if
I
I
say
say
something,
something wrong,
you
somebody
can
can
say,
say,
"Baba,
Baba,
you
you might have said something
come
wrong
here."
there.
Okay, what?
What?
Right.
Right.
Because
Because
now
now
we
we
are
are
having
having
the
the
conversation.
conversation.
But
But
when
when
Baba,
we
we are
are
not
having the
having the
conversation, that's
conversation,
why
our
Ifa
Ifa
says
says
we
we
should
should
worship
worship
our
our
Ifa
Ifa
every
every
5 days.
5 days.
We
We
should
should
go and
go
do
and do
that
that
every
every
9 days.
9 days
Is
is
Nissan
Nissan
Ifa
Ifa
in our
in a
congregation
congregation
meeting.
within the community.
And
Every
every
time
time
we
we
go
go
every
16
16
days,
days,
all
all
our
our
elders
elders
should
should
come
come and
together
gather together
and
and
expound
expound
on
on
the
the
Udu
Udu
of
of Ifa,
that the
that the
young
younger ones who sit
at
at
the
the
side
side
and
and
listen
listen as
as elders
elders
share
share
the
the
Udu.
Udu,
We
we
all
all
will
will
get
get a good understanding. The
okay.
scriptures are there in the
tradition.
tradition.
All right, Baba. I agree, but the question is, Baba,
Uh,
we live in the diaspora. We were educated and conditioned differently to the people who live in the homeland and have been maintaining this tradition for thousands and thousands of years in the same manner, right? But in the diaspora, we've been conditioned and educated differently. And most of our people suffer from these syndromes that I've
Ah,
mentioned earlier. Now, let me just do this before you go on, because I know you would address all my questions, right? Let me just read the qualities here of Owo in Oworo Obara. Owori Obara, yes. This was the quality of the Oba's son who was poor and wasn't able to become the Oba because somebody else with money became the Oba. But these are the areas of his character that eventually made his destiny bring him into being the Oba. The first quality was wisdom. The second quality was humility. The third quality was understanding. The fourth quality was he worked very hard, right? Then the
that would
other
be
quality was
perseverance.
sympathy and consideration for other
Mhm.
people.
That,
Those were the
yes.
qualities that led his destiny and led him into the position of being
Uh,
Oba.
well, what you have read out there is basically the four pillars of Ifa, right? Now,
Now,
wisdom is
wisdom
not
is not one
one
of the
pillar,
pillar,
but
but
wisdom
wisdom
is
is in
applying
applying all four.
you
You
will
will basically be operating within the wisdom of Ifa. If I say if you lack wisdom, learn Ifa.
and when
When
you
you
gain
gain
wisdom,
wisdom,
you
learn more Ifa.
right?
Right?
Now,
Now,
when we
when we
look at,
look at, or
as I
as I
say,
say,
these
the
syndromes and
syndromes
all
and all
these
the
things,
things,
we
we
can't
can't
deal
deal
with
with
it.
it. But
We
we
who
who
have
have
to
to
deal
deal
with it,
with it,
firstly,
firstly,
we
we
have
have
to
to
deal
deal
with
with
it
it within
within ourselves.
ourselves.
And
And I make this early statement.
if I
If
have
I have
not
not
liberated
liberated
myself,
myself,
how
how
can I
can I
go
go
there
there
and
and
preach
preach
and
and
liberate
liberate
others?
others?
If
If
I
I
not
not
haven't
haven't
broken
broken
the
the
shackles
shackles
that
that
are
are
upon
upon
me,
me,
how
how
could I
can I
come
come
and
and
say
say
I'm
I'm coming and free you?
where I'm
Where I'm
still
still shackled within the
scenario?
scenario.
And
And
then
then
when we
when
are
we are
liberated,
liberated, we
we
have
have
to
to
be
be able
able
to
to
see
see
our
our
whole
whole
community
community
not
not
as
as
one
one
who
who
is
is
trying
trying
to
to
be
be
a
a
savior,
savior,
but
but
one
one
who
who,
has
as you say,
had
had
the
the
experience,
experience,
had
had
the
the
understanding.
understanding.
So
So
if
if at
any
any
religious
religious
background
background
one
one
may
may
have,
have,
I
I
can
could
communicate
communicate
with
with
them
them
because I
because
have
I have
the
the
experience.
experience.
I
I'd
say
say
we
we
grew up
grew
in
up in
the
the
diaspora.
diaspora.
Now
Now
learning
learning
a
a
deeper
deeper
in
in
depth in
depth
the
in the
tradition
tradition
because
because
basically
basically
we
we
were
were
always in
always
the
in
tradition,
tradition,
but
but
we
we
never
never
had
had
the
the
proper
proper, I say,
dialect or
dialect or
the
the
literature
literature
to
to
go
go
with
with
it.
it.
So we
So
like
we'd
express
express
it
it
in
in
different
different
ways.
ways.
So
So
now
now
in the
in the
diaspora
diaspora
that
that
we
we
who
who
has
has
have a
had
deep
deep
understanding
understanding in the tradition
is
is
just
just
to
to
look
look
into
into
as
to those
others
others
and
and
see, let
let
them
them
see
see
where
where
they
they
are
are
in
in
the
the
tradition.
tradition.
Say
Say
put
put
it
it
aside,
aside,
explain
explain
to
to
somebody
somebody
when
when
one
one
is
is
I'm
I'm
teaching one
teaching one
about
about
Ela
Ela
and
and
the
the
spirit
spirit
of
of
manifestation.
manifestation.
How
How
do
do
Ela
Ela
manifest?
manifest?
Just
Just
as
as
how
how
when
when
one
one
is
is
doing their
doing their
Pentecost and
Pentecost and
they
they
feel the
feel the
Holy
Holy
Spirit,
Spirit,
Ela
Ela
manifest.
manifest.
They
They
just
just
want to
wanted
dance,
dance,
Ela is
Ela is
manifestation.
manifestation.
They
They
just
just
started
started
expressing
expressing a
in different
different
language,
language,
Ela
Ela
is
is
manifesting.
manifested.
Now
Now
they
they
want
want
to
to
understand
understand because in
that's what
diaspora
we
we
call
call
it
it
the
the
Holy
Holy
Spirit,
Spirit,
the Holy
the
Ghost.
Holy Ghost.
But it's by
But
us
it's
to
by us
understand,
understanding,
yeah, understanding
understanding
what
what
it
it
is
is
that
that
we
we
came
came
out
out
of
of
because
because
we
we
who
who
understand,
understand,
we
we
came
came
out
out
the
the
experience.
experience.
We know the history. We
We
could
could
talk
talk
Egyptology,
Egyptology,
we
we
could
could
talk
talk
metaphysics,
metaphysics,
we
we
could
could
talk
talk
Kabbalistic,
Kabbalistic,
we
we
could
could
talk
talk
Christianity,
Christianity,
we
we
could
could
talk
talk
from the
from the
Torah, we
Torah, we
could
could
talk
talk
from
from
the
the
Quran.
Quran.
We
We
had the
had the
experience.
experience.
Baba,
So,
some people say that is not Ifa. You no business
yeah.
talking that. You're supposed to be talking only
No, well,
SA Ifas and
those,
Udus
those
and
speak,
nothing
right?
else.
Those who speak is those who basically are denying the truth. Ifa
Ifa
came
came
to
to the world.
no
No
matter
matter
what they
what they
say.
said.
Ifa was
Ifa was left heaven and came to
Ayin.
Ayin.
They
They
did
did
not
not
say
say,
okay,
okay,
Itachi.
Itachi.
Rivila
Orisa
might
might have lived in okay, Itachi.
Ocean
Ocean
might
might
have
have
lived
lived in
in Oshogbo.
Oshogo.
Shango
Shango
may
may
have
have
lived
lived in Oyo.
but
But
Ifa
Ifa,
when
when Ifa left heaven, he came to Ayin. He came to
the
the
world,
world.
he
He
came
came
as a
as a guide for the people in
the
the
world,
world, and
all
how the people
in
in
the
the
world
world
will
will
live
live
in
in
alignment
alignment
with
with
everything that is in
everything in
the
the
world.
world.
So
So
no
no
matter
matter
those
those
who
who
want
want
to
to
hold
hold
the
the
dogma,
dogma,
because
because
the
the
principles
principles
of
of
Ifa
Ifa
outside
outside
of
of
religion
religion
is
is
still
still
found
found
in
in
Buddhism,
Buddhism,
still
still
found
found
in
in
Hinduism,
Hinduism,
still
still
found in
found in Christianity,
still
still
found in
found in all religion.
outside,
If you go outside of all those villages and go into where they are not fighting the government, who is qualified and who should be the priest and who not be,
and
we are like, we always live
in
in
harmony with
harmony
the
with the
people.
world.
Those
Those
we
we
call
call
them
them nature worshippers. Nature worshippers was those who was already into the world keeper.
So I think
It
in,
is
in
in closing,
it,
it is
first
first
when
when
you
you
look
look
at
at
leadership,
leadership.
leadership
Leadership
is
is
not
not
bound
bound
by
by
those
those
who
who
are
are
only
only
carrying
carrying
religious
religious
titles
titles and
professional
professional
titles.
titles, because
Yes, you
yes,
may
you may
have a
have a prime minister,
uh,
but
he's
are
really
he
our
really
leader.
our leader?
Yes, you may
Yes, you
have
may have
a chief
a chief
justice.
justice.
Say he's
Say
head
he's
of
the head
the
of the
judicial
judicial
system,
system.
but
He's not
really
really the
of the
leader of the
judicial
judicial
system.
system.
So just
So
as in the
just as in the tradition, we may have people with titles
that
that
represent
represent
leadership,
leadership,
but are
but
they
are they
really
really in leadership?
because
Because
when I would
when I
ask
would ask them
a certain
a certain
question of
question of
responsibilities, he
responsibilities,
said
he
he could
said I
call
could call
his leader
his leader
before he could
before
give a
he could give a
response
response
as to what
as to
he
what he
considers
considers he can
as
lead as
leadership.
leadership.
So I'm
So
saying
I'm saying
there are those
there are
who are
those who are
called
called
and there are
and
those
there
who
are
are
those who are
chosen.
chosen.
Many are
Many are
called,
called,
not
few are
chosen.
chosen.
Ifa
Ifa
says
says
there are
there are
those that
those
have
that
traveled
have traveled the road
before,
before,
they may know
they
the
may know
track,
the track,
but the young
but the
one
young
is
one is
frightened of the
frightened of
road.
the road.
So
So
if you
if
know
you
the
know the
track,
track,
why
why
would
would
you
you
allow
allow
me
me
as a
as a
young
young
one to
one to
fall
fall
into
into
the
the
bullet
bullet
or
or
don't
any
the
or
bullet?
anything?
I
I
just
just
bring
bring
a
a thing. They
this
say
is
the
young
young one
sees
sees
of
of
the
the
road,
road,
yet
yet
is
is
the
the
elder
elder
that
that know the
path.
pathway.
So
So
when you
when
look
you look
at
at our problem
today,
today,
a
a
lot
lot
of
of
elders
elders
they
they
know
know
the
the
problem
problem
because
because
they
they
have
had
walked the
walked
track
the track
many years
many years
before.
before us.
And
And
yes,
yes,
in
in
terms
terms
of
of
let
let
us
us
work
work
together
together
and
as we
speak
speak
about
about the
young
young
people
child
child
can
can
reach the
God bless
goblet
us,
of the child,
but
but
the
the
elect
elect
of
will reach it.
the
The
elect
elect
can
can
put
put
his
his
hand
hand inside,
but
but
the
the
young
young
child.
child,
I
I
mean,
mean,
there
there
should
should
be
be
a
a
collaboration
collaboration
and
and
understanding
understanding
in
in
bringing
bringing
about
about
a
a
leadership
leadership in our community.
or
Our
people
people
need
need leadership.
or
Our
people
people
need not
not
a
a
leader
leader,
but
but
leadership
leadership
into
into
a
a
collective
collective
leadership.
leadership.
Elders
Elders
sitting
sitting
together,
together,
counseling,
counseling,
looking
looking
at
at
situation
situation.
we are
We are
going
going
into
into
a
a
new
new
year.
year.
What
What
is
is
the
the
plan
plan
for
for
this
this
new
new
year?
year?
What
What
advice
advice
can
can
we
we
give
give
the
the
young
young
one?
one?
What
What
support
support we
we could
could
give
give
those
those
who
who
have
have
ideas,
ideas,
those
those
who
who
have
have
a
a
dream,
dream,
those
those
who
who
have
have
something
something they
beautiful
want
to
to
build
build
upon?
upon?
What
What
can
can
we
we as a
counsel
council of leaders,
the
the
elders
elders
of
of our community,
what
what
can
can
we
we
do
do to contribute
to
to
their
their
well-being
well-being
that
that
they
we
could
could
also
also contribute
back
back
to
to
us
us
as
as the
elders?
elders?
So it's
So it's
working
working
together.
together.
Leaders who
Leaders
have
have
the
the
idea
idea
of
of
bringing
bringing
out
out
people
people
of
of
the
the
different
different
health
because
because at
at
the
the
end
end
of
of
the
the
day,
day,
everybody
everybody
could
could
choose
choose
their
a
religion.
religion.
Everybody
Everybody
could
could
choose
choose
their
their
traditional
traditional
way
way
of
of
worship.
worship.
But
But
then
then
you're
you're
all
all
human,
human,
we
you're
all
all
can
can
achieve
achieve
any
any
group of
group of
human.
human.
We
We
all
all
carry the
carry the
burden
burden
and
and
we
we
are
are
all
all
supported
supported
by
by
our
our
ancestors
ancestors
and
and
nation.
nation.
No
No
matter
matter
how
how
we
they
bring it
express it
expressly.
culturally.
So
So
leadership
leadership
is
is
one,
one we have to deal with.
and leadership
Leadership
in
in
terms
terms
of
of
helping
helping
our
our
people
people
deal
deal
with
with
all
all
the
the
issues
issues
and
and
social
social
ills
ills
that
that
come.
come with it.
In this
This
approach,
approach
Abu,
Abu
Aboye,
Aboye
Shishi,
Aboshishi. Abora Aboshi
Abu,
Aboshishi.
Oku. So you have Paul there.